In this video, I'm testing and comparing the MERACH NovaRow R50 machine versus the Concept2 rower. This MERACH rower is the best budget-friendly alternative to the Concept2. Now, I can tell you that this past weekend, I went to Fitness to the Coast and they had a different off-brand Concept2 rower, or a version of the Concept2 rower, and it was nothing like the regular Concept2. And it was not enjoyable to row on at all. It was a lot taller off the ground. It felt really weird. These two machines, from a rowing experience standpoint, feel almost identical. I'm gonna break down all of the differences and the similarities between these two machines. As far as the overall construction and footprint of these two machines, they are virtually identical. So the size is the same, the materials are the same, the length of the slide is the same, the way that the flywheel works is the same, there's the same number of fans, the damper setting is exactly the same, it's 1 to 10. There are a few differences between these two rowers. The handle, the foot pads, the seat, and obviously the monitor are very different. Like I said, these two machines are almost identical. Now the big difference as far as like the build and the construction and just moving it around is the weight difference. So this MERACH machine is a lot heavier than the Concept2. So it is very, sturdy materials. The Concept2 is a little bit kind of, I don't want to say it's flimsy, but it definitely has like more bend and give to it. The MERACH rower, like I really have to pull on it to make it bend and twist. This one, you can kind of tip it really easily, and the whole thing kind of is a little bendy. They both separate in the same place, right here. They use a similar kind of latch mechanism so that you can store it in a very similar way. Like I said, you notice the seats are very different. This one is a lot more squishy and cushiony, but overall, like the size, the dimensions, the way everything is set up is like basically identical. The way that the flywheel works is also very similar. It's 1 to 10, just like the Concept2, and the resistance on it feels similar. The nice thing about the MERACH rower is that on the monitor, it does display what exact setting you're on. So you can see right here at the top, it says level 5. That's because we're on damper setting 5. And if I pull it up a little bit, you can see now we're on level 8. It shows, the time per 500 right here. It shows the distance in meters. You can also change it to calories. This has Bluetooth connection, so you can connect a heart rate monitor and it will show your pulse here. It shows stroke rate, wattage, and then total number of strokes as well. The monitor on this machine is very similar. You can do all of the same things: target distance, target calories, intervals, custom intervals. All of that is on here. It's pretty straightforward to set up. One cool thing that the MERACH rower has that the Concept2 doesn't is that it has an app that is for all of the MERACH machines. In their app, they have a 3D map model, which is super cool because it can allow you to race against other people live while seeing like a 3D depiction of different rowing courses. So you can do the Golden Gate Bridge, there's like the Suez Canal, there's a bunch of different options for where you could be rowing on the MERACH rower using their app. I entered a couple of the races and it was pretty cool. You can zoom in and see where you are in comparison to everybody else in the race. You can also zoom out and see like more of the overall course, and the 3D aspect of it is pretty cool. When actually rowing on these two machines side by side, the feel of the experience of rowing is very, very similar. The thing that I noticed the most is that the chain feels like it pulls you back a little bit harder with the MERACH rower. Not to a point where it's like gonna affect your row stroke, and to be honest, it might even actually improve your row stroke, because the tension at the back, once we finish this row stroke, what you want to do is have your arms come back first. So this portion where it pulls the chain back, it feels a little bit stronger, maybe by like 5%. So it's not too much to really mess with your stroke, but like I said, it might honestly help your stroke because it feels like it wants to go back to the catch, and it doesn't want you to hold here, which is better rowing technique overall. The two foot straps are very different. The Concept2 just has like a 1-inch webbing with like a little tightener. This is Velcro and these are 2 inches wide. So it definitely feels like it holds more of the top of your foot in there. When you tighten these down, your foot really feels locked in there really hard. These are the foot straps. It's a Velcro strap that's holding your foot in. It is definitely wider than the Concept2 foot strap. And I found it a little bit more comfortable on the top of my foot, holding my whole foot down. I thought this was a little bit sturdier than the Concept2. As far as like the angle, they are very similar. The way that the foot size adjustment works is very similar. It's these little holes that you pop up and down to make it bigger or smaller. So the foot straps are very comparable, but they are a little bit different than each other. Same thing with the handle. I don't notice any difference comfort-wise between the two handles. The Concept2, the rubber is a little bit tackier, I would say. This feels a little bit softer in my hands. This one has more holes in the top than the Concept2 does, but I don't really think that makes much of a difference. The chain is still a nickel-plated chain, and when I looked on the underside of the rower, where you can see kind of the way that it's all built, the system looks virtually identical. From a rowing experience standpoint, like I said, these two machines are very similar. This seat is 10 times more comfortable than the Concept2 seat. So this one is a little squishy, and it has a nice feel to it. It feels like it feels like a seat and not just like a piece of hard plastic that you're sitting on like the Concept2. I grew up riding bikes, and with bike seats, like too much cushion is not usually a good thing, but you also don't want it just like super stiff. You want it to have a little bend and give to it. Same thing here. This isn't like plush by any means. It is still has some rigidity to it, to where you don't feel like you're just kind of like squishing around when you're rowing, but it is a lot more comfortable to sit on. Your sit bones don't get as fatigued sitting on this machine for a long time versus the Concept2. Overall, for the price, I think that the MERACH rower is a great budget-friendly alternative to the Concept2. This Concept2 is kind of like the gold standard for indoor rowing competition and for a lot of like the competitive fitness space. But if you're just looking for something at your house and you don't need to have a Concept2, you're not competing in anything, I think this is a great option for a lot of people out there. If you want to pick up your own MERACH rower, I'll leave a link in the description where you can go ahead and get one at a discount. I hope this video was helpful. YouTube will recommend another video from me that you should watch next right here. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.